Hello everybody, Chris Hale here from Profit Squirrel. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing fantastically well. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is walking you through an ACCA offer, showing you how to complete an ACCA, also known as an accumulator. And we're going to be going through this in a sort of step-by-step fashion. And by the end of it, I hope you're going to be feeling comfortable to attempt ACCA offers yourself. And that will be a fantastic spot to be in because they are really, really good offers. They're about all the time and they can be a really, really nice source of consistent profits. And once you get the hang of them, they're pretty easy to do as well. So with that being said, let's get started. Firstly, what is an ACCA? Well, an ACCA is short for accumulator. And what that basically means is a series of bets that all have to be proven true in order for you to win. And there are different numbers of bets that you can add into the accumulator or ACCA. And basically you can have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7, whatever. Any number of events can go into your accumulator. And then what happens is the more events that you have in the accumulator, the less likely it is that all of those are going to prove true. But it does mean that you can win extremely big on those accumulators because there's such a rare chance of them coming true that the odds are really huge. So you can win very big, but in reality, it's quite unlikely to happen. And that brings me to my first point, which is that bookmakers love it when you place accumulators with them because most of the time, the bookmaker's going to be making money. Most people that are placing accumulators, they aren't doing match betting, they aren't backing and laying the outcome. So they're going to just be losing money really week after week at the bookmaker. And that is great news for you as a match bettor because it means once you start doing these accumulator offers, you'll be making money and you'll also be looking good in the eyes of the bookmaker, which means that they're going to look after your accounts more. You're less likely to get gubbed or restricted, and also you're going to probably be receiving more free bets, bonuses, other offers to your bookmaker account, which is all great news. So moving on, what is a typical type of ACCA offer? Well, you can see a few different types, but the most common type that we're going to see over and over again is a refund if one leg of your ACCA lets you down. Now, each of the bets that you make, those are referred to as legs. And you basically have, say, 2, that's referred to as a double. If you have 3 legs or 3 potential outcomes, that's called a treble. And then anything bigger past that is just a fold. So 4 outcomes or legs is a 4-fold ACCA, 5 outcomes or legs is a 5-fold ACCA, and so on and so forth. So you'll hear me say that a few times throughout this video. And basically what one leg letting you down is, or one leg not proving true, what that means is that we got 4 of our predictions right, but one of them perhaps didn't happen. So that means that has let us down and we're going to qualify for a refund then from the bookmaker. So that's the type of offer that I'm going to be going through today. I'm going to show you how to complete one of those, and we're going to complete it in a way that is called a sequential lay. Now, there are different ways of completing ACCA offers, and there's a few different strategies you can use as well to affect the outcome. But the sequential lay method is the most common one, and that's what I'm going to show you now. It's the easiest one to do, and it's the one you'll probably use the most often. Let's get into it. So the first thing you'll be doing is preparing to actually complete the ACCA offer. Now, I would say do this on a desktop computer or on a laptop. It's really quite tricky to do it on a mobile phone. I've actually never been able to find a way to do it that is easy on a mobile phone. And the reason for that is because there tends to be quite a few different fields that you have to fill in on the calculator in order to actually accurately match off and calculate what you need to do for the accumulator. So that would be my first tip, is to actually do this on a larger screen. To get started, what you want to do is be logged into your Profit Squirrel account and then go to the tools section here. It's on the left hand menu. If you're on the odds matcher and you can't see this menu, go ahead and click the open tab on the left hand side and that will pop open for you. and the tools button is the one at the very, very bottom. If you haven't seen this before, there's some really useful spreadsheets here, useful things for tracking your profits, tracking all of your different accounts. It's really a nice little area of stuff that we've put together for you. And the one that you want to download is this one here. It's the third one down at the moment. It's called the ACCA calculator. Hit download on that. And once that's downloaded, go ahead and open it up. If you're a Windows user, you'll probably be using Excel on your system. That's normally included. If you're a Mac user, you can open it up in Numbers. It will work in either one of those. Now, I've got the spreadsheet open on my screen here. At first glance, it looks like maybe there's a few things going on, but don't worry about it at all. It's really simple once you actually start looking at it. So let me talk you through that now. You'll see that the screen is split into two sections. Don't worry about the cash flow table on the right hand side for now. That's kind of an optional section, and it's something that can be helpful as you're going on, but you don't actually really need that section to complete the offer. So the left hand side is where I want to draw your attention to. Now you'll see that some of the boxes are this kind of yellow color, almost like a beige. And those are the boxes where you can edit the cells. So those are the only ones that you have to pay attention to. All of the white ones and sort of the colored ones here, those ones automatically change as you update the details. So when you get onto this, and we'll go through an example properly in a minute with an actual offer, the first thing that you want to be doing is selecting the multiple type here. So that's whether it's a 4, 5, 6 fold or whatever. You'll see that it goes up to a 6-fold accumulator, and generally as a match bettor, you're not going to be doing any more than a 6-fold accumulator. It just doesn't really happen because you just don't really get the offers at that 6-fold level. If it ever changes, of course, Profit Squirrel keeps things up to date and will update this calculator to be able to go beyond, but I haven't seen it in all the years that I've been doing this, so it's not that likely to happen. So just as an example, let's pick a 5-fold one. That means that there's 5 outcomes potentially, and you'll see that these fields have now expanded on the left here. And what this is just an easy way for you to keep track of what you're doing. So you'll just note down the events here, note down the outcome that you're looking for, and then in this column here, column E, what we're going to do is we'll just drop in the back odds that we're seeing at the bookmaker. The bookmaker name here is just a useful, handy reference tool for you so you can know what you're up to. And then you'll chuck in your back stake here as well. And the amount of your back stake is normally dependent on the amount of the refund offer that is being given out by the bookmaker. We'll come on to that again in a minute. In the second box, that is to do with your lay bets. And you're essentially going through, just dropping in all of the lay odds here of the events that you've selected for the back, making a note of your exchange, dropping in the commission, and that's going to give you an output here on the right hand side. So far, I hope you can see that this is really just a version of our simple calculator, and it's just set up to incorporate more events. That's really all you're doing. You're doing multiple back and lay bets throughout the accumulator, and this calculator just holds all those for you, keeps everything nicely in one place. And then we'll talk about the outcomes that you're going to get at the bottom in a minute. I think that'll be easier with a practical example. So now let's walk through an actual live example of what you're going to be doing, what you can expect to see. First thing you want to do, go back to the Profit Squirrel website, to the members area. Again, make sure you're logged in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click the daily offers tab here on the left hand side. Once that's loaded up, I'm going to scroll down a little bit and you will find the accumulator offers towards the lower end of the screen. And here we are, ACCA football. Generally, you only really get ACCA offers on football events, or more specifically, those tend to be the most valuable ones. So those are really the only ones we tend to feature here at Profit Squirrel. As you can see, there's a few different ones here, and you can often place multiple accumulators in a day. You have to just check the bookmaker terms and conditions and make sure that there's nothing different about them or nothing that says you can't do that. But generally, you can tend to do it quite a few times throughout the week. So each one of these is not really one offer, it's actually just an offer from a particular bookmaker, but with most bookmakers you can place several ACCA bets throughout the week, which is really nice. So let's select one, just an example here. So let's pick Paddy Power, let that load up. And then as normal with the Profit Squirrel offers, you get a little summary here for the basic steps, and that's enough for most people if you're actually familiar with this type of offer. And then you get a little bit more detail below. So what this is basically telling us is that we'll get a £10 refund if we do a fourfold football accumulator at a minimum of 1.2 back odds for every single event. If one of those legs doesn't prove true, so we correctly guess 3, but one of them doesn't work, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get a £10 free bet with them. And then you'll just go ahead and back and lay that in the normal way, should unlock about sort of £7.50 profit with that. Generally with these types of offers, what they'll do is they'll specify the market that you have to bet it on. And normally that is the win-loss draw market or match result. And we've mentioned that here, match results, win-loss draw. That's the basic, really simple type of market. You'll be familiar with that if you've placed any other type of match bet. And there's generally eligible leagues, so you can't just go off to some random Kazakhstan football league and place the matches there. You got to make sure you're in the eligible leagues. So let's go ahead and check it out. I'll click the link to open up Paddy Power here. It'll open up in another tab, and then this just actually gives you the actual offer screen and just a little bit more detail. Mostly this is just repeating what's on the Profit Squirrel website, but there's often a few more details here if you want to check it out. Go ahead and click Bet Now, and what you'll want to do is go ahead and log into your Paddy Power account. If you don't currently have an account with Paddy Power or any of the other bookmakers, make sure you complete the welcome offer with them when you're signing up before moving on to anything like this. Okay, so according to the terms of this offer, I can bet on many different leagues, many different football leagues. What I'm going to do though is just go ahead, select English Premier League. Doesn't really matter which one you choose, to be honest. You can choose any of the eligible leagues here. I would recommend though, when doing these offers, that you pick a league that you like and just kind of stick with that week after week. It seems like a more normal thing to do from a bookmaker's perspective. So the way that we're going to be completing this accumulator offer is with something called sequential laying. And what that means is that we're going to back and lay the first event in our ACCA. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to wait until that event is over, until we know the outcome, to decide whether we're actually going to back and lay the second event. And then we're going to wait until that second event is over before we decide about the third, and then wait until that's over before we decide about the fourth and the fifth and so on. The reason we do it this way is because only one leg of your accumulator needs to not be true in order for you to qualify for the refund from Paddy Power. So imagine the first event, say for example, could be this Wolves-Liverpool game, and that is the first event in your accumulator. Imagine that we back Liverpool to win, they're the favourites here at 1.5, and actually they don't win. So what's happened is that first bet in our accumulator has proven to not be true, and our lay bet at the betting exchange will have won. As soon as one event doesn't come true, your whole accumulator is finished. You're done with the process. So that's why we wait until the event has happened to decide, do we need to lay this off at the exchange, or are we okay? Is the offer over? What you don't want to do is place your accumulator and then go ahead and lay all of those bets at the betting exchange, because each time you back and lay, there's probably going to be a little qualifying loss. And if we can avoid those, we want to do that because that maximizes our profits. The terms of this Paddy Power offer are that you need to place a minimum of a four-fold accumulator. So what you need to do is be on this market here, which is the match odds win, loss, draw market, which I am. That's great. That's up on the screen. And then what you're going to need to do is pick 4 teams, but because we are laying sequentially, what you need to do is make sure that the games that you choose do not overlap. You need to make sure that the first one has finished and is going to be well finished by the time that the second one starts and the third one starts, and so on and so forth. If they're overlapping, then you can be in a situation where you actually are not sure whether you need to lay off that bet or not. And that's something that we want to avoid, and the method won't work. So what you're going to want to be doing is looking at the start time of the games. You need to know that a football match is 90 minutes in length, plus maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes of extra time. And you want to also allow for halftime, which I think is generally about 20 minutes and so on. So what that means is, a football match maybe starts at midday, is not going to finish exactly at 1:30. You should budget at least an extra half an hour or more either side, well, not either side, at the end, in order to make sure that you're going to have events that don't overlap. So let's go ahead and pick some of these. When you're picking your events, remember the minimum odds that you need to hit. So I believe in this case, it's 1.2. So let's just make sure that all of the outcomes that we pick are over 1.2. I would recommend picking events where you're as close to the minimum odds required as possible, as this will decrease the liability you need in your betting exchange, and it will also probably minimize your qualifying losses. And additionally, I would say back the favorites, because those are the ones that are going to have the lowest odds. So let's go through and choose some. So I've got Wolves versus Liverpool here. That's the first game on this list. That starts at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So great, that works for me. There's no other games that day. Might as well start with that one. The odds of 1.5 are quite nice here. Close to the minimum odds. Let's go for it. Okay, we'll select that one. Click it to add it to your bet slip. The next day, we've also got multiple football matches, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose Arsenal to beat Burnley. And the reason I'm doing that is because 1.2, that's bang on my minimum odds required, and I want that to be the case. I could pick any of these. I could pick, Watford, West Ham, or whatever, but slightly higher odds there. So let's choose Arsenal. Great, that's 2 out of the 4 required that we need for this match bet. Now, check out the time. That says 12:30 kickoff. So if we add 90 minutes to that, that's 2 p.m. And then you just want to be careful, make sure that there is enough time for that match to finish. So probably 3 o'clock, these matches here, that probably would be all right. That's 2.5 hours later. So maybe let's see if there's any decent odds. That Chelsea-Leicester could work. That's quite nice. You could also go later into the evening as well to this Man United one. But 1.3, I quite like that. It's close to 1.2, the minimum odds. So let's select that. And you see I've checked the time to make sure that we're going to have enough time to know the result of Arsenal-Burnley and lay the bet off if necessary. So we're up to 3 now on our bet slip. We need 1 more to make this a 4-fold accumulator. So yeah, I quite like the look of that Manchester United Cardiff match. That's 1.53. They don't all have to be on the same day though, so maybe let's have a little look and see if we can find something which is a little bit closer, a little bit shorter odds. Yeah, Leicester Man City, that could work. 1.3, that's on Wednesday. So yeah, that might be quite nice. What I would say is think about as well when you're going to want to use your free bet, because generally what happens if your accumulator doesn't work out and you're going to get a free bet, you're going to have to use that within 7 days. So I'm pretty happy with that. So let me choose Leicester Man City here. 1.3 for Man City. That's closer to my minimum odds. And what that means is if it comes down to that final game and I don't get my free bet until Wednesday, that's next Wednesday, there's going to be football later in the week. It's not listed here at the moment, but there's going to be matches, next weekend, and I'll be able to use my free bet on that. So that's how I tend to think about these sorts of things. Sure, think about what you're doing now, but also think, what am I likely to want to use my free bet on when I qualify for it? So on the right-hand side, on your bet slip, what you will see is your selections here. And you can see the boxes to place the bets on the individual teams. But what you'll always see, no matter what the bookmaker, is another section at the bottom here. So Paddy Power, they group it under multiples, and they actually use the word accumulator here. Some of the other bookmakers, they won't always use the word accumulator. They'll say something like fivefold, fourfold, or whatever. So that's why it's kind of useful to know those terms. But what this basically is one bet of combined odds. And if it's one bet, then you know you're onto the right thing. You can go onto these other types of bets and things like that, and you'll see, look, this one says Yankee made of 11 bets. So that's not going to be the right place for you to place your bet. You want it to be an accumulator, or the name of it, in this case fourfold. And here it says made of one bet. That's how you know you're in the right area. So the refund on this offer is £10 maximum. So what we want to do is go ahead and we'll actually do that at £10 because they'll match your bet there. So what this is telling us is that the stake is £10, the potential return is £30, the combined odds are 3.04. So first step is to actually go ahead, now you're happy with these selections, is whack them in your spreadsheet here. Type in the name of the event here on the left-hand side and the time, and then the outcome that you've bet on there. You don't have to do this, but it can be a useful way to keep track of what you're doing. So I'm just going to update that quickly now.